December may feel like a quiet pause in the garden, chilled soil, bare branches, and shorter days. But beneath the surface, important work is already happening. Experienced gardeners know that what you do now sets the stage for success later. While most wait for spring, planting in December gives you a head start. Roots settle, stabilize, and prepare for vigorous growth when warmth returns, resulting in stronger plants, earlier blooms, and a healthier garden overall. Cold soil isn't lifeless. Many perennials actually thrive when planted in winter. Lower temperatures reduce transplant stress, seasonal moisture helps roots establish naturally, and plants focus energy below ground, building long-term strength. In this video, we'll explore perennials to plant in December that benefit from winter planting and reward you with early growth, abundant flowers, and less work in spring. Take note, save this guide, and let's get started. Your garden for next year begins today. 1. Hellebores Lenten Rose. Hellebores are nothing short of extraordinary, and especially during the cold months. When nearly everything else in the garden is dormant, hellebores push through frost, snow, and freezing temperatures to bloom. This rare winter flowering habit makes them one of the most valuable perennials you can plant in December. Unlike many plants that suffer when planted in cold weather, hellebores actually prefer it. Being planted while dormant allows them to experience minimal stress, encouraging their roots to settle deeply before spring growth begins. December, planting closely follows their natural rhythm and helps them establish faster and more reliably. Hellebores flourish in partial to full shade, making them ideal for spots where other plants struggle. They perform beautifully beneath trees, along shaded walkways, near buildings, or in woodland-style gardens. Their thick, evergreen foliage provides structure and interest throughout the year, even when flowers are not present. Their blooms appear exactly when the garden needs them most, from late winter into early spring. Colors range from creamy whites and pale greens to deep purples and muted rose tones. Even after flowering, the blooms age gracefully, continuing to add texture and beauty for weeks. Proper soil preparation is important for hellebores. They prefer rich, fertile soil that drains well and contains plenty of organic matter. While they appreciate consistent moisture, they do not tolerate soggy conditions. Applying a layer of mulch helps regulate soil temperature, protect roots, and retain moisture during winter. One of the biggest advantages of planting hellebores in December is root development. With no demand for leaf or flower production, the plant dedicates all its energy to anchoring itself. By the time spring arrives, winter-planted hellebores often outperform those planted later, producing stronger foliage and more abundant blooms. Hellebores are also impressively low maintenance. Once established, they are drought-tolerant, resistant to deer, and exceptionally long-lived. Many plants thrive for decades, gradually forming larger, more impressive clumps over time. If you want a garden that feels alive even during the coldest months, hellebores are indispensable. Planting them in December allows them to settle quietly and reward you with beauty when almost nothing else dares to bloom. 2. Peonies. If your vision of the perfect garden includes massive, luxurious flowers that demand attention, peonies deserve a top spot. These timeless perennials are celebrated for their enormous, fragrant blooms and remarkable longevity. And December is one of the best times to plant them. Peonies are unusual because they actually require cold exposure to establish properly and bloom well. When planted in winter, the plant remains dormant above ground, but beneath the soil, critical development is taking place. Instead of expending energy on foliage or flowers, peonies concentrate entirely on building a strong, deep root system. This hidden process is what produces thicker stems, sturdier plants, and dramatically larger flowers in late spring. Planting peonies in December also greatly reduces stress. The soil is naturally cool and moist, requiring less watering and causing almost no transplant shock. By the time spring arrives, winter-planted peonies are already settled and ready to grow, while those planted later are still adjusting to their new environment. Peonies thrive in well-draining soil and need plenty of sunlight. Full sun is ideal, though light afternoon shade can be helpful in warmer regions. Drainage is essential. Overly wet soil can lead to root rot, especially during winter months. If your soil is heavy, improving it with compost or planting slightly raised can significantly improve results. Planting depth is one of the most critical factors for peony success. The eyes, small reddish growth buds on the roots, should be positioned no more than 1 to 2 inches below the soil surface. Planting too deeply is one of the most common reasons peonies fail to bloom. Shallow planting allows cold temperatures to reach the roots properly, which is necessary to trigger flowering. Once peonies are established, they are incredibly long-lived. Many plants thrive for 50 years or more, often producing even better blooms as they mature. They dislike being disturbed, so choosing the right location from the beginning is essential. Winter planting gives them the calm, undisturbed start they need to settle in permanently. With very little ongoing care, peonies reward patience with stunning flowers, strong structure, and a classic presence in the garden. Plant them once and they may continue blooming for generations to come. 3. Black-eyed Susan. Black-eyed Susan is one of those perennials that immediately fills a garden with warmth and energy. Its bright golden petals surrounding a deep, dark center create a sunny, welcoming look that lasts well into summer. And planting it in December gives this plant a major head start. Rudbeckia is naturally tough and well adapted to seasonal cold. When planted in December, it enters the soil in a dormant state, allowing its roots to settle firmly and deeply long before spring growth begins. This early root establishment is especially important for Black-eyed Susan, helping the plant stay upright and stable once strong winds and heavy flowering arrive later in the season. These perennials perform best in full sun and average, well-draining soil, but they are remarkably forgiving. In fact, Rudbeckia often thrives in conditions where other plants fail. Winter planting allows roots to slowly expand through cool, moisture-holding soil, creating a stronger foundation that supports thicker stems and more, even balanced growth above ground. One of the most important benefits of December planting is improved drought tolerance. By the time warmer weather arrives, Black-eyed Susan already has an established root system capable of accessing deeper moisture. This results in healthier foliage, sturdier flower stalks, and a noticeably heavier bloom display throughout summer. Black-eyed Susan is also invaluable to pollinators. Bees, butterflies, and other beneficial insects depend on its long-lasting flowers for nectar and pollen. Planting it early encourages earlier flowering and longer bloom periods, providing consistent support for local wildlife. Once established, Rudbeckia is extremely low maintenance. It does not require rich soil, frequent watering, or constant care, and it tolerates neglect better than most perennials. Winter planting gives it a natural, low-stress beginning that leads to stronger plants and longer-lasting garden performance. 4. Echinacea, coneflower. Echinacea, more commonly known as coneflower, is a true workhorse in the perennial garden, offering both striking beauty and exceptional durability. It responds especially well to being planted while dormant, making December one of the most effective times to introduce it to the landscape. In the wild, Echinacea seeds naturally drop to the ground in autumn and winter, remaining in cold soil until spring warmth signals them to grow. Planting Echinacea in December follows this natural cycle, allowing roots to settle gradually in cool conditions without the pressure of immediate top growth. Coneflowers thrive in sunny locations with well-draining soil. They are extremely hardy and benefit from cold exposure, which strengthens their root systems and prepares them for long-term success. Echinacea planted in winter often develops thicker, more rigid stems, better upright form, and improved flowering once the growing season begins. Another major advantage of December planting is increased resistance to disease. Plants that establish in cool soil tend to be healthier overall and less susceptible to fungal problems and stress-related issues. By the time summer heat sets in, winter-planted Echinacea is already well anchored and resilient. Echinacea is also highly drought-tolerant once mature. Its deep, extensive roots allow it to draw moisture from lower soil layers, reducing the need for frequent watering. This makes it an excellent choice for low-maintenance gardens in regions with hot, dry summers. Beyond its ornamental appeal, Echinacea is widely known for its medicinal uses and immune-supporting properties. Growing it adds both visual interest and practical value to the garden. Planting it in December gives Echinacea the quiet, natural start it prefers, resulting in stronger plants, longer flowering periods, and a more impressive overall display. 5. Ornamental grasses. Ornamental grasses are some of the most versatile and visually dynamic plants you can include in your garden. They provide texture, movement, and a natural rhythm that changes throughout the seasons, and many of these grasses actually perform best when planted during the winter months. December in particular is an ideal time for cool season varieties because it allows the plant to dedicate all its energy to root growth without the distraction or stress of developing top foliage. When you plant ornamental grasses in December, their roots quietly and steadily spread through the cool, stable soil. This slow, uninterrupted development creates a solid foundation that supports stronger and more upright growth when spring arrives. Rather than scrambling to anchor themselves during a rapid surge of spring growth, winter-planted grasses wake up fully rooted, giving them a clear advantage over those planted later in the season. Placement is crucial. Most ornamental grasses prefer locations with good drainage, since excessive standing water during the winter can damage or rot the roots. Space is also an important consideration. Many varieties expand significantly over time, forming wide clumps or gradually spreading across the garden bed. Planting in December gives you the opportunity to plan carefully, ensuring each plant has the room it needs to thrive without overcrowding. One of the key benefits of winter planting is structure. By the time spring arrives, grasses planted in December already have a robust root system that can support taller, fuller top growth. This translates to stronger stems, more graceful form, and earlier visual impact in the garden, creating a sense of maturity and completeness from the very start of the growing season. Ornamental grasses can also enhance winter interest. Even when dormant, their dried seed heads and delicate movement in the breeze add subtle beauty to the winter landscape. December planting ensures that by spring, these grasses are already well established and ready to contribute dynamic texture year-round. Once firmly rooted, ornamental grasses are exceptionally low maintenance. They are drought-tolerant, long-lived, and forgiving of neglect. Winter planting provides them with a calm, stress-free start, allowing them to grow into reliable and visually striking focal points that enhance the garden for many seasons. 6. Ferns. Ferns may appear delicate and ethereal, but many hardy varieties are surprisingly resilient, and December is an ideal month to plant them. Cool winter soil encourages steady, consistent root development, allowing the plant to establish itself fully without any pressure to produce leaves or fronds above ground, which is exactly how ferns naturally prefer to develop. When planted in winter, ferns quietly take root while remaining dormant above the soil. This allows the root system to spread deeply and naturally before the first signs of spring growth appear. By the time fronds begin to unfurl in warmer weather, the plant is already securely anchored and ready to produce lush, healthy foliage. Ferns thrive in shaded or semi-shaded environments, making them perfect for woodland gardens, shaded borders, and areas beneath trees. They prefer soil that is moist but well-draining and enriched with organic matter, which helps retain a consistent level of moisture. Winter planting takes advantage of naturally cool and evenly damp conditions, providing the ideal environment for steady root establishment. Another advantage of December planting is protection from stress. With no active fronds exposed to the elements, the plant experiences minimal pressure from frost, wind, or fluctuating temperatures. Adding a light layer of mulch further insulates the roots and helps regulate soil temperature, promoting steady growth throughout the winter months. By the time spring arrives, ferns planted in December emerge stronger, more robust, and better able to adapt to environmental changes. Their fronds unfurl evenly and fully, and their overall growth is thicker and healthier than ferns planted later. This early start also contributes to long-term vitality, allowing them to thrive for years with minimal ongoing care. Ferns bring an unmatched softness, depth, and timeless elegance to any garden space. Planting them in December provides the quiet, uninterrupted beginning they need to flourish. The result is graceful, dependable plants that return each spring more resilient and beautiful than ever, creating a lush, serene atmosphere in your garden year after year. 7. Hostas. When winter casts its quiet spell over the garden, hostas appear to vanish entirely, leaving behind bare patches of soil where once lush, textured leaves stood. Yet beneath the surface, these plants are very much alive, quietly preparing for the next growing season. And December proves to be an unexpectedly powerful month for planting them. During the winter months, hostas remain dormant above ground, which is a huge advantage when planting. With no active foliage to support, the plant experiences minimal transplant stress. Instead, it channels all its energy into developing a strong, extensive root system. This extended period of underground growth gives winter-planted hostas a significant edge, ensuring they are fully prepared for the burst of spring activity. Planting hostas in December allows roots to settle deeply and securely over several months, without the pressure and competition of spring growth. By the time temperatures rise and the first shoots appear, these hostas have a well-established root network, resulting in earlier emergence, faster growth, and leaves that are noticeably larger, thicker, and more robust than plants put in the ground later in the season. Hostas thrive in rich, nutrient-dense soil that retains moisture while still providing proper drainage. Ample organic matter helps the soil hold water evenly and supports sustained root growth. These shade-loving perennials are perfect for planting under trees, along north-facing walls, or in other partially to fully shaded garden beds. While they appreciate consistent moisture, overly wet conditions should be avoided, especially in winter, to prevent root rot. Correct planting depth is essential for hostas. Position the crown just below the soil surface, lightly cover it with soil, and top with a thin layer of mulch. Mulching helps regulate soil temperature, prevents frost heaving, and conserves moisture without suffocating the plant. One of the greatest benefits of planting hostas in December is the dramatic reduction in transplant shock. Come spring, these hostas awaken already anchored and stable, producing dense, full clumps with broad, strong leaves. Winter planting is one of the most reliable ways to achieve the massive, eye-catching hostas admired by gardeners everywhere. Once firmly established, hostas are incredibly long-lived and low-maintenance. With the right location and care, they can thrive for decades, expanding steadily and becoming more impressive with each passing year. Planting in December gives hostas the calm, uninterrupted start they need to reach their ultimate potential. 8. Daylilies. Daylilies are renowned for their resilience, adaptability, and dependability, qualities that are only enhanced when planted in December. These perennials are exceptionally tolerant of cold and handle winter soil conditions with remarkable ease, making them ideal candidates for late-year planting. When introduced to the soil in December, daylilies dedicate all their energy to establishing strong, extensive root systems. With no demand for foliage or flowers during dormancy, every nutrient and resource is directed underground. This early investment in the root network results in healthier, sturdier plants that produce stronger stems and more abundant blooms in the following growing season. Daylilies flourish in full sun, which encourages maximum flowering, though they can also tolerate light shade. They prefer soil that drains well, but once established, they are highly adaptable to a variety of conditions. Winter planting allows roots to extend naturally through cool, moist soil without stress, setting the stage for vigorous growth once spring arrives. Spacing is crucial for daylilies, as they gradually form full, dense clumps over time. When planting, give each plant enough room to expand and water them thoroughly to help settle the soil. Adding a layer of mulch protects the roots from temperature fluctuations, preserves soil moisture, and gives young plants a stable, insulated environment throughout winter. A major advantage of December planting is timing. Winter-planted daylilies often bloom earlier than those planted in spring, as their roots are already firmly established. This deep root system also improves drought resistance during the hotter summer months, meaning the plants can thrive with less frequent watering and are more resilient overall. Daylilies reward patience like few other perennials. Though they appear quiet and dormant in winter beneath the soil, they are busy preparing for vigorous spring growth. By choosing to plant them now, you provide a significant head start, ensuring that when warmer weather arrives, your daylilies are stronger, more vibrant, and ready to deliver exceptional blooms and lasting garden beauty.